Hey guys, welcome to Farm Bill Friday. I'm Katie Welborn, and I'm the South Carolina Policy Coordinator for the Carolina Farm Stewardship Association. Usually you would see Rochelle Sparko's smiling face here on a Friday morning, but she is out there at the National Farm to School Conference representing Carolina Farm Stewardship Association at the Farm to School Conference, learning what's working and what's not working around the country with Farm to School, because Carolina Farm Stewardship has been involved supporting farm to school efforts in North and South Carolina for a while, and we're working in both states to support upcoming bills that will provide more funding for schools to purchase locally farmed products. But today we are here to talk about the Farm Bill, particularly the House version of the Farm Bill, which honestly is not so great. At the end of this Farm Bill Friday, we're going to post a link with a sign-on if you wish to sign on, as we have in conjunction with organizations from all across the country saying that we're opposed to this House version of the Farm Bill. We would welcome you to do that. It lacks a lot of supports for local food systems development and infrastructure. It lacks a lot of support for conservation practices, organic agriculture, and I'm going to hit up several of those pieces today. I'm going to give you a short little rundown of where the Farm Bill is now in DC, moving on the Hill, talk about what's lacking in the House version in terms of Seniors Farmers Market Nutrition Program, the Organic Certification Cost Share Program, the Food Safety Cost Share Program, and then several funding mechanisms like the FMPP, LFPP, and VAPG grants that a lot of our members and farmers and organizations across the country have utilized to build up their local food system infrastructure. So first, a little Farm Bill update. Where are we right now? What's going on with it? First of all, what is the Farm Bill? Well, brief synopsis, Farm Bill is a near $1 trillion, 600+ page legislative package that affects all aspects of agriculture across the U.S. And the current Farm Bill expires in September. So we have 5 months left to get a new Farm Bill passed. On Wednesday, April 18th, the House Ag Committee marked up and essentially passed their House version committee of the Farm Bill 26-20. So that means all Republicans voted to support and all of the Democrats voted to oppose the bill. There was no real markup, or what we mean by that is amendments or really debates with subcommittees of the Ag Committee. It was the fastest House draft Farm Bill has moved through a Farm Bill committee ever. So there wasn't much bipartisan effort or support in the formulation or passage of this House version. And a couple things that you've heard from Rochelle and that I'm going to share later today are going to share why that's not so great that this has passed out of the House Committee. So where is it now? The House bill still has to go to the full floor, and they need exactly, where are my numbers? I think I lost a sheet. Anyways, if all the Republicans vote for it and all the Democrats vote against it, they'll be good to go. There are about 30 Republicans that are on the fence because they have a lot of SNAP users in their districts, or because they have a lot of conservation-minded or local food efforts in their districts. So there are about 30 Republicans that were hopeful that could be swayed or pushed to put amendments in on the full House floor, so that at the end, what we're getting out of the House isn't as bad as the draft is now. So, for example, signing on to the letter that we're going to post at the end of this Farm Bill Friday is a way to show Republicans and Democrats, but mostly the Republicans, that there's opportunity and support if they want to or have the initiative to support some of these amendments on the floor. On the Senate side, we're a little more hopeful. They haven't filed their draft bill yet, or they're not in committee or anything. We're expecting that they're going to be releasing their version of the bill later next month. So potentially end of May, TBD when that's really going to happen. The Senate side, we're a little more hopeful. We work with the National Sustainable Agriculture Coalition who's on the Hill in DC lobbying for organic and local farms every day, and is very involved with amendment crafting and informing organizations like us and working with us on the Farm Bill. And we're hopeful that on the Senate side, there's going to be more support for conservation practices, as well as some of these pieces that I'm going to share with you in a minute. And it's supposed to be a much more bipartisan effort, so will hopefully shift us a little more towards what we're looking for when we get the final result of the Farm Bill. So what's actually in the House version for the points I'm going to go over today? The first one is going to be around the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. So what actually is the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program? So basically in 2001, USDA Food and Nutrition Service, some of you might know it as FNS, has been running this program. It's basically vouchers for seniors that they can use at actual farms, farmers markets, roadside stands, and CSAs. So seniors get a voucher, and then they have to go buy directly from a farmer or through a CSA or from a roadside stand. The seniors have to be 60 years old and have household income levels at or below 185% of the federal poverty line. So what's great is that the House version of the bill did provide flat funding, so $20.6 million per year in mandatory funding, which is what we've been at, and it's been a successful program. It's allowing seniors to have access to not only produce, but potentially locally farmed produce, so putting more of those dollars into area farmers' pockets. But the ask this year was to expand that program to include low-income veterans. So low-income veterans would also be able to participate in the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. That was not included in the House version of the bill. That's something that we're disappointed about, because it was an opportunity to expand a lot of farmer operations and also service a population that, like a lot of those who live in the U.S., don't have access to healthy foods. So, number 3, the Organic Certification Cost Share Program. So this is something that, if you're familiar with Carolina Farm Stewardship Association or are one of our members, you've most likely heard of this, or maybe you've actually taken advantage of it yourself. So the Organic Certification Cost Share Program essentially covers about 75% of certification costs of organic producers, so up to $750. So this is really important, particularly if you are a new and beginning farmer, or if you're a farmer that's transitioning all or part of your farm to organic. $750 can potentially be a lot of money, and is a true barrier to being certified. So CFSA, on our website right now, we have information for farmers in North Carolina and in South Carolina to be able to be reimbursed through that program. Mark Dempsey and now a new hire, Sarah Bostick, are working with those who are members who want to become or to continue to be organic certified. So it's a huge deal for CFSA. It's a huge deal for any organic farmer across the country. It really kind of is a slap in the face to organic certification and that way of farming. And so we're really frustrated and concerned that this cost share program is essentially eliminated in the House version of the bill. Hopeful that this could be amended on the floor or be included on the Senate side, because we don't want to get rid of that program. Number 4, so the Food Safety Cost Share Program. So with this version of the Farm Bill, the National Sustainable Agriculture Coalition, CFSA, and many organizations around the country were pushing to create a food safety cost share program. If you've been following CFSA for a while or are a member, you've probably heard of the Food Safety Modernization Act, or if you're probably working in any field or involved with agriculture at all, it really is the most overarching change and increase in regulations to food and farm practices in the U.S. in many, many years. And I'm just going to read a little piece of a letter that some of our members actually sent to Sonny Perdue when he was visiting one of our member farms a couple weeks ago. And this is what they said about food safety. We believe without a doubt that the compliance burden from FDA's rules under the Food Safety Modernization Act is the most significant regulatory threat facing specialty crop and local food producers. The Food Safety Modernization Act is driving buyers to impose knee-jerk requirements on all small farms and food entrepreneurs at a time when producers are already employing risk-based approaches to protecting public health that are superior to FSMA's inflexible and burdensome scheme. Strengthening USDA's existing food safety outreach programs so more educational resources are available to small-scale producers and supporting the Food Safety Cost Share program will help these farms and businesses overcome regulatory burdens through the Food Safety Modernization Act. So essentially, there have been huge federal rules and regs passed down to lots of aspects in food production and distribution, but we're talking about farmers here. And a lot of them are having to engage in trainings, come up with different food safety plans, and change a lot of infrastructural, there are going to be infrastructural costs on the farm, ways that they're going to have to change on the farm that they haven't been doing already, that are already and will be costly as the Food Safety Modernization Act is, more and more farms have to come into compliance. So with the Food Safety Cost Share program, it was really creating a way for farmers to be reimbursed for some of the infrastructural costs on the farms and actually have more access and low-cost ways to redo safety plans and come up with ways for how they're going to abide by these new regulations on the farm. So that's really not in this House bill at all. It's something that a lot of organizations have pushed for, and that is still definitely needed as food safety is, I believe, the biggest issue when it comes to food producing farms, particularly new and beginning or smaller scale food producing farms. Number 5, a things you need to know. So there were essentially cuts, meaning $0 allotted to the farmers market promotion program, the value added producer grant, and the local food promotion program in this version of the House bill as it is out of committee. So if you're not familiar with the farmers market promotion program grant, the local food promotion program grant, or the value added producer program grant, basically the 2014 Farm Bill provided $30 million a year in mandatory funding for the farmers market promotion program and the local food promotion program. It also provided $63 million to be spent over 5 years for the value added producer program grant. So what are these grant mechanisms? Like, what do they fund? What do they do? Have people even been applying to get these funds over the past couple of years? I'm just going to share a couple examples from South Carolina. The Midlands Farm Tour that was put on in 2016 was actually funded through a farmers market promotion program grant. It connected some chefs and a lot of consumers with farms that normally weren't open to agritourism. A lot of those were farms that aren't popular on social media or written a lot about in local newspaper. They were kind of off the radar, but wanting to get into more markets, and it was a great avenue for them. The group that put on the farm tour, we actually had a local food pledge that we did with that. So asking people to sign on to spend $10 of their own food budgets a week on foods produced in the Midlands of South Carolina, and to also support county and regional plans and incorporating food systems planning into their plan. So it's actually a grassroots organizing effort as well to get people on board with food systems planning. In the upstate of South Carolina, Swamp Rabbit Cafe and Grocery, which there's a little, there's a PDF that we're going to share a little link to on here, a write-up about Swamp Rabbit Cafe and Grocery that was done by Clemson in conjunction with University of South Carolina Honor School of Public Health and us, kind of looking at these funding mechanisms and what they've done. But Swamp Rabbit Cafe and Grocery, they've received 2 of these grants. They are using those funds to open a butchery, to have more avenues to more attractively package and sell and get specific cuts of meats that chefs and their consumers want. Before they got the grant to expand their operation, there was literally no more room for them to add products for farms or add other farms into their inventory to sell through their cafe and grocery. They say that by purchasing appropriate equipment to augment storage and processing capacity through these grants, produce sales and value-added product sales have increased by 40% and 57% respectively. So because of these grants, they've been able to drastically increase their sales, but that also means how much they're buying from these value-added producers and these farmers. They say at Swamp Rabbit that the increased sales and improved purchasing reliability has created this ripple effect with farmers that go all the way back to the farmers. So because Swamp Rabbit now purchases products from more than 265 local vendors, 112 of them are farmers. The farmers are saying that because of Swamp Rabbit sales, their businesses are growing, and they also get more community recognition because their customers and chefs and other purchasers see their products in the Swamp Rabbit store, and that's also tangentially increasing these farm business sales. The other example I wanted to share with you was Chester County Farmers and Artisans Market also received one of these grants. That's in Chester, South Carolina. They were able to, excuse me, to really work with their a mobile market that they were able to use with this grant dollars to sell locally farmed produce in food desert areas and in low income areas. It's called the Fresh to You Mobile Market, and they've been able to not only sell more by having a market that's mobile, but also increase the amount of farmers that they're able to buy products from because they are selling more products. So I know that was a really quick and speedy rundown of 4 different programs and funding mechanisms within the Farm Bill that we're not thrilled about in this current House Farm Bill. Like I said, we're more hopeful on what's going to come to the Senate side, and we're also hopeful that those 30 Republicans that are in the House that will have to vote on this bill are going to be willing to file amendments and that we can get some of these things changed on the House floor. So, like I've mentioned several times, there's a sign-on. There's 3 days to sign on. So you have to sign on by April 30th. It's really fast. But basically, if you choose to sign on through this Google form, which we're about to post the link, you're signing on to this quote. From farm to fork, America's food system should make the safest and healthiest food available to everyone. And the Farm Bill introduced in the House of Representatives falls far short. The following groups oppose the House Farm Bill. And then you basically sign your name on the Google form. If you sign the Google form, a lot of the signatures are going to be posted and made public to members who are actually going to be voting on this bill and their staff, as well as other organizations and maybe potential media outlets. So just know if you sign it, potentially the whole world might know that you signed it. But that's a great thing because we really do need to change what's been put in this bill that is really detrimental to a lot of work that I know organizations like CFSA, but most importantly, a lot of farmers who've built their businesses and are wanting to start or grow their businesses really are depending on a lot of these things in the Farm Bill to be successful. So with that, thanks for tuning in to Farm Bill Friday. Sorry I started 3 minutes late. I was actually on the wrong Facebook page. So thanks for being patient until we signed on. Hey to everyone who's watching, and we'll post a sign-on link soon. Thanks so much.